Hey everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm coming to you with another Stampin' 101, and I wanted to show you something that I talked about earlier on a recent YouTube live. If you didn't catch it, there's a lot of really cool stuff that I showed with the new projects in there, and I said I wanted to show you how to use these absolutely amazing new Sizzix adhesive strips that Stampin' Up! Is now carrying. And these are a strip that will make anything sticky. So they are super, super helpful when it comes to these really little tiny Thinlits. So I recently got this cool Happy Birthday Thinlit. And as you can see, normally what we'd have to do is we would either kind of glue the back of them, which you still can do. Absolutely, that is completely a possibility, but you could glue the back of them. You could put maybe some strategic mini glue dots, or you could, if you were really feeling fancy, you could cut up some of the Stampin' Dimensionals. But another great tool that you might want to check out if you haven't seen it yet are these cool Sizzix adhesive strips. And I kind of went through this earlier, but I'm going to show you again what I did today. Now, I created this card, and this is completely adhered on with this strip, so that's really simple. So the only thing I did is I have a piece of Night of Navy cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then I used a piece of the, please forgive me, I can't remember these new DSPs yet, the Delightful Daisy, and this is a designer series paper. Really, really pretty. This is actually in the new Daisy set. So I used a piece of that, so that's cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And then I was lucky enough to get my hands on the Daisy Punch. This is back ordered right now, but it should be available again to order, I believe, June 26th of 2017. So hang in there if you haven't gotten it yet. There should be enough that should hold off for some time. So they are coming up as not orderable. They kind of turned it off for a little bit to be able to catch back up, but they should be going on hopefully towards the end of June. So I used that to punch out the little Daisy, and then I used, they have a coordinating stamp set called Daisy Delight, and it has the daisy that you can punch, and then it has different centers for the flowers and a couple really nice sentiments. So I used the center just to give this little flower here, and then what I did is I took a sponge and I just barely dipped it in the crushed curry, and I just went on the tips of the daisies. But if this is a little too much for you, or if you don't have the daisy, I'm going to show you a different card that we can make today, and I'm going to show you how to use this Sizzix. So what you're going to do, let me move all this stuff out of the way. Okay, so these come in a pack like this. So I've used maybe 1/4 of one sheet, but they come in a pack like this, and they do come with directions. But you know, sometimes directions, especially when they're in black and white, they can be a little bit difficult to understand. So I'm going to just tell you how absolutely simple this is. So basically what you're going to do is you have one of your strips, and I already did this earlier, so I'm going to show you what it looks like before I do it again. But what you do is you cut the strip, and then you stick it to your cardstock. And then you take your cardstock with the adhesive part, so you do want to make sure that you're centered in the field, and you put your die on top of it, and you crank it through the big shot. So instead of using the yellow, how about if we use a different color? So how about if we use, what other colors are in this? Because this is a really pretty pack. How about if we use this? And instead, we will make our base, let's see, we'll make our base Wisteria Wonder, and then we can cut the Happy Birthday out with, I think that's Calypso Coral. Yeah. And I don't even know if that is Wisteria Wonder, but we're going to use it anyway. So we're going to make our base Wisteria Wonder. We're going to have a piece of the designer series paper, and then we're going to cut the Happy Birthday in Calypso Coral. Okay. So I'm going to put this DSP on the side for a minute. And what we're going to do now is you're going to get a piece of Wisteria Wonder. Doesn't have to be huge, can be a scrap piece, because all it needs to be is big enough to fit the Happy Birthday on there. But I wonder if this is big enough. This is from the old Top Note die, one of my favorites. It does. So we're going to just trim a piece of this to fit. That way I can use this for something else. And actually, you know what? I said I was going to cut this in coral, so never mind. Here's a base. Sorry about that. Let's see. Calypso Coral. Got another little scrappy piece. Yeah, okay. So we have a half sheet. So what we're going to do, put this on the side, is we're going to see. So it doesn't take very much to do this happy birthday. So we'll kind of just eyeball it. So right about there. So we're just going to get our scissors and we're just going to cut the strip. You can certainly get out your trimmer and trim it if you want it to be even. Nothing wrong with that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, so it says peel here. So you're going to peel the backing off of your strip. Okay, so this part here, trash. So go ahead and throw that in the trash. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put this piece onto, ooh, and of course I did this earlier, so it was too big that way. We're going to put it onto our cardstock and just give it a press. Okay, so that's it. You leave this here until you actually cut through it. So now granted, this is a little bit odd shaped of a die, so you can put it as far to the end as you would like to get it. But if you were going to do this and then say you had something, I'm trying to think what else you could even fit on here. Say where you were going to use the at-home die and you wanted to cut out some ivy, you could do a whole bunch of those in green, and that way you'd have them already. You can also stamp this, so you could stamp, for example, I digress here, I apologize. You could stamp your little decorative ivy here. So say you stamped that in Always Artichoke, but you stamped it onto Pear Pizzazz, so you get the dark ink onto the light color, and then you can cut it out with this, so it'll be completely perfectly matched, and it will just give a lot of depth to this card. I really am looking forward to using this at Christmas. Not that I'm trying to rush it, but just trying to give you some different ideas of what you can do. Okay, so now you have your adhesive that you stuck to the back, so now we're going to grab the Big Shot. And I've only done this once before, so I still will have to fool around with what pieces I specifically need, because I usually just use the standard cutting pad, and then I do typically use the thin die adapter. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put our cardstock down. You want to make sure that you remember where you cut it so you have the adhesive. So ours is in the top corner here, so we're just going to put this as far over as we can, just because I'm conserving this since it's new and fun. And we'll slide that up. Okay, we'll put our other cutting pad on top, just like that, and we're just going to crank it through the Big Shot. Oh, I have so much stuff on my table, it's all wiggling. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. And I'll show you this when you can completely take it out. Okay, so it's going to pop out just like that. This comes off super easy, so that's great. And then your piece will pop completely out. Oops, it's hooked there with the little H is hooked. Come completely out of your paper. So there you go. So you see you still have another piece over here that you could use for something different, and then you could use the rest of your piece for scrap. Now if you wanted to, you could take these, where are they? And you could do, so say you knew you were going to do a lot of whatever it may be in Calypso Coral. So what you could do is just take your whole strip. It is a little bit bigger, but you could take a whole strip and almost cover one entire piece of paper, and then just cut tons of stuff from this and use it and get it all done at the same time. So that is an option. They are just a slight bit off of, so I think they're 12. They must be probably like 5 by 12, I'm guessing. 6 by 12. So if you have 12 by 12 sheets, you could actually cover this in 2 sheets, and then your whole entire sheet would be sticky. So just an idea. All right, let me put this back. Okay, so you have your piece here, so we'll save this. So then what you do, it doesn't really take a lot of effort. I mean, you can get out your paper piercer if you have it, but most of these pop out because it has that weight of the sticky behind it. Okay, so one little one there we missed. So there you go. And you can see the other side is white. Again, this doesn't have to completely cover it, so if you only had half of it, your half is still going to stick. So now, let me get this out of the way. We're going to go ahead and cut our designer series paper. So the last one I did a full sheet. This one I won't. So I'm still going to do it 4, but we'll trim it down a little bit. So let's see. Let me go by 3. I'm going to do 3.5 by 4. And that way we can have a little bit of space either above or below, or we could leave it up or down. We could put a little ribbon here if you wanted to, whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to score my cardstock. So this is just a piece of Wisteria Wonder. I'm just going to score this in half. So 4 1/4. And go ahead and fold that in half. And then the other thing we can do, so if you have your if you got the daisy punch, you could do a daisy if you'd like, but I thought another alternative, in case you don't, we'll do something with the doily. So I'm hoping those are still current. I can't quite remember. There's been so many things that have come and gone, so I apologize if they're not. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll put our little, that looks super pretty just like that. You could even put this, so you put this down at the bottom, you could put this on it. Put it this way if you wanted to instead. Put the doily behind just for like a little added texture. Let's do that, just a little something different. So we'll just trim our doily. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it in half. So I'm just gonna fold it in half and just kind of eyeball trim it. Okay, and so you can save the other half. You could use a quarter if you wanted, but we'll put it like that. We'll kind of off center it, and then we'll put our happy birthday on there. Maybe we can add some pearls, because pearls are always pretty with the lace. So I'm going to just take a little bit of snail. Be careful, these do rip extremely easily. And I'm just going to set this here, kind of just eyeball. I'm not going to give it really a hard press yet. And put some adhesive on our DSP. And we'll put it that way. You know what I'm going to do to this really quickly, just because if you're doing lace, it kind of needs to be rounded. Just in case you missed it, the Project Life corner rounder is no longer. So if you have the envelope punch board, you can take the other side of your punch board and it will round your edges for you. So I'm going to just do 2 round edges. I'm going to leave two square and 2 rounded, just for a little visual interest. So you have your edge of the card here, and then the soft corner over here by the lace. Why not? Okay, and then we're going to just put this right on top, and we'll put maybe some pearls down here at the bottom. So now you have your little happy birthday. All you have to do is find a slight edge. Doesn't really take much effort at all, and just peel it apart. Just like that. You don't want to rip it, so don't be too rough with it until you kind of get the feel of it, but it's incredibly easy. And then you can just pop your happy birthday right up on top. Just press it down. And there you go. Very simple. So if you haven't seen lately, I will show you this as well. So the rhinestones did completely retire this type because they got rid of these little strips here. Same with the pearls. I don't think I have any old pearls. Oh, I do. So these are the old pearls. Same with this. So they retired these so they don't have these strands any longer. So now instead, I haven't used these yet. They just have them in like a large, a medium. It's the same size. Yeah, kind of just looks like a more medium. Yeah, because that's definitely not. No, they're the same. Same as before. Sorry, talking to myself. Yeah, so they just have the, like, large, they do look a tiny bit smaller. Yeah, and the small. Sorry, that was unnecessary and long-winded. Oh boy, what are you going to do? All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to put a couple pearls. So we'll just use a few of the bigger ones down here. So we'll just go with 3 because somewhere I read that things are better in 3s, and we'll put these in a little bit of a staggered pattern, like an isosceles triangle, to add a little angle to this. Let me see, let me move this just a little bit. It needs to be closer together. No, Rachel, you're getting a little too crazy here. All right, well, I might still end up fiddling with that because that's just how I am. I think now that I see that, I'm going to put a couple more of these over here. So I'll just put one up top. A little angulation there. Oh, where did that one go? Disappeared on me. I think I picked it up and moved it twice. Gotta love it. Yeah, I think we're gonna nix the big ones and we'll go with the little ones instead. I'm gonna add a couple more of those just to random spots. Oh my goodness, I'm losing pearls. There we go. I don't want to overdo it. We'll put one here on the end. Okay. So anyway, those are two different ways. I'm sure I'm going to be finding pearls. Yep, here's one. Finding pearls later on throughout the day. Those are just two different ways that you could use that. But again, if you haven't noticed that in the back of the catalog, or you're like, what the heck is that for? Sizzix permanent adhesive. It sounds kind of scary, but super fun. I'm so glad Stampin' Up! Started carrying this. If you haven't gotten it already, make sure you check the catalog and order some for yourself, especially if you have these really thin dies, because it's definitely very, very helpful with these little guys with the intricate. This would have been super helpful with the Botanical Bloom set, if anybody still owns that. This would make this immensely easy. So if you have it, let's see your Botanical Blooms card. I would love to see it. I still have that stamp set and love it. So guys, thanks again as always for watching. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, you can leave them here on YouTube. And I'd love if you would follow me on YouTube at Rachthestamper. Or you can send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. And as always, all these and more are available in my online store 24/7. You can shop anytime you want, in your pajamas or not, at rachthestamper.stampinup.net. Thanks so much for taking time to watch, and I hope you have a great day.